What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bullets, Barbells, and Barbecue. This is episode 11. I got Matt with me, as always. Yep. We got Drew Heckman here, a little special guest. And the real special guest, we have the legend, the GOAT, Ed Coan.
Hi, guys.
For those of you who don't know anything about life, we'll give you some stats on Ed. And he can tell me if we're right or wrong. 71 world records.
Yeah, give or take.
Okay, great. Lightest person to cross the 2,400 barrier in powerlifting.
Yep.
Best single ply lifts, 1,019, 584, 901.
Yep.
And 901
Well,
was at 220.
Raw, and that was raw.
901 was raw.
Yeah, at 220 with 2-hour weigh-ins and drug testing.
And 220 you went 961, 584, 901. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fairly impressive. And no one has ever done that with 2-hour weigh-ins and a straight bar
Oh, no.
and a drug tested meet.
No.
Exactly. That's why it's the GOAT.
And actually at that meet when I told 2,400, I benched 545 that day, and that was raw too.
And the 901 was supposed to be 890 something, wasn't it?
898 because I wanted to break 2,400, but they had to weigh everything afterwards, and it weighed out to 901.
Because there was no calibrated plates.
Right.
Jesus was supposed to be 898 and it was 901.
Yeah.
It's a little different right there.
Like,
Well, I cared
That's
about
what
the
matters.
total more than I
Right.
did anything else.
Right.
But like that difference will like crush people. In a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's the difference between yes or no.
Yeah, when you're at top end,
Yeah.
that's a big difference.
Could you have gone
But
more?
you weren't at top
Yeah.
end, so yeah.
What do you think your best pull you could have done in competition was?
I tried 920 afterwards, and I got a little bit more than 3/4 way up before I fell forward because I mistimed my sight because I was so happy on the last one that it was actually like anticlimactic, so I couldn't get up for it enough. But I mean, I had doubled 900 in training at that stop before that.
Now, what did you do? You talk about like getting up, like getting amped up, because I know you and I have talked about like people waste so much energy getting too hyped up.
Yep.
And and you always told me ammonia just erases doubt, but you never had doubt, so you never used ammonia.
Yeah, actually, efforting used to tell me that there's nothing anyone can do to or for you that'll be better than what you can do to and for yourself. So looking for an outside source to make you better a lot of times doesn't really work because it's not genuine. It's not coming from you. You're not solving the problem. Like, why can't I get up for this? So relying on an outside source usually doesn't work because it doesn't. It's coming from the outside trying to penetrate in instead of working on the inside yourself.
So you weren't like a music guy, headphones guy.
No, I would get a little bit fired up for the deadlift, but in the squat everything was inside turmoil.
So you're kind of like a Michael Jordan, where he would just kind of go through his shots.
Well, yeah, it becomes like a Zen thing. If you practice it right and you peak right, then you should be at the meet and have confidence and everything should go accordingly. So I didn't worry about anything, and I never said, I'm going to lift this amount at this meet. I let my training do it. First of all, it got me strong, and then since a meet, you're not at home. You don't have your same spotters. You're got a clock to time you. You're in a warm-up room. You're being rushed. You don't have you have judges. All this other crap that comes into play. You're not on your home turf anymore. So it's just like, how do I look after my first attempt? All right, then we'll take this. How do I look after my second attempt? Okay, well then this is what I know I can do today.
But that kind of like trickles back into your program and listening to you talk about kind of your linear stuff. Like the number you would pick at the end seems like you were humble enough to pick like what I think I could really do versus this is the number that I want and I'm gonna try to fucking make it happen.
And that never works.
Right, you just get crushed.
Usually what happens about 70% of the way through a program, someone misses or they get hurt or whatever, and they say this program sucks. And no, you suck.
Right.
Because you made up your numbers all wrong. So I would, remember there was a movie with Jim Carrey called 23?
Yeah.
And he had, you look all over the room and there's thousands of numbers written down. That's how I was with the routine. And I would write it from the back end forward. But I would have every set, rep, weight, and exercise, every single exercise I did, even if it was assistant, mapped out with what weights to do the whole cycle. And then I'd write it over a whole bunch of times to make sure every single thing I did was doable and built upon the previous week.
How long do you think you were training before you had like a high enough degree of confidence to like really look back and kind of like write those numbers down accurately?
Probably after 3 years.
Weird.
Yeah. But look, in 1980 was my first meet. In 1984, I won the IPF Worlds already.
Yeah.
With less than 4
Yeah, I mean,
years
you're
of
already a
training.
freak, but like just thinking, like looking back to like,
It's just that yeah, I was extremely determined.
yeah,
I was completely obsessed with it, which I think you got to be if you want to be the best. And I just was into myself. I pretty much ADD, so I would just be watching people all the time and not talking. I was socially unequipped, so I would just watch people, and that's how I learned
Yeah.
what to do and what not to do.
yeah,
And then everything else was completely 100% by feel. If it felt good, it was
Yeah.
right, and I didn't listen to anyone after that.
yeah. I think a lot of people miss that. Like they pick these numbers. They either pick numbers that they want to hit, or they pick exercises and weights that they want to hit. And they're not, like you said, listening to like, is this number realistic?
They don't learn. Everyone relies on trainers now instead of learning a little bit by themselves.
Fair.
Now, when you would pick your numbers, but how about in an off season? Would you retest your maxes, or how would you determine your max?
No, I would change my strength in the squat was my back and my hips. So my off season, I would just change the squat around and do a high bar closer stand squat. Almost the same type of linear stuff I did getting ready for a meet. I would just change the purpose. In the bench, I would bench with my feet up. In the deadlift, I would do deficit stiff leg cycle that would sometimes be 10 weeks, or with no belt, or I would do a regular deficit conventional style with no belt for 10 or more weeks. And that's how I built everything. I just changed the version of something that I was weak at, but would transfer through, because a lot of people, like, front squats didn't work worth crap for me. So obviously, even though it's a good exercise for some people, it didn't work for me. Short legs, long torso, it made me fall forward too much. So I couldn't use the top weight that I would have wanted to. So someone like, I used to help a guy named Derek Kendall, if you remember him. He was enormously huge. And he did an 855 front squat with just knee sleeves and walked it out. Well, front squats could work for him because he was built for it. For me, it wasn't a necessity for me. It didn't transfer over, so high bar close stance work. So look, you're only as strong as your weakest link. What I did was I tried to make my routine to where I got every single thing strong, even on my assistance work. So as a total package, you built a suit of armor. Wherever you hit, there's a chunk of strength and muscle. So you think you're going to last a lot longer doing that and have less weaknesses for the long term? Yeah. If you could see me right now, which I can't, but I'm holding my hands up and I'm just raising the top one higher and higher and higher. Well, if that high mark is your strength and the low mark is your weakness, it's always going to be that way. We're always going to have our own strength and weakness. But if you don't bring that bottom up in the off season and make it stronger, then that gap becomes too big, and all of a sudden you start failing lifts at different points all the time at the same spot, or your training starts to suck because your weaknesses didn't come up.
So how would you, when you would do those, and then you go back into like meet prep, when you would write out your linear, how would you determine what you were going to base your numbers off of? Would you do your previous
Because I know
meet?
what I did at the last time.
So you just use your previous meet max and know
Yeah.
that you got
Yeah,
stronger.
because that way I didn't have to really worry about being so exact with percentages, because I already set the program already. I know all I have to do. Look, if I up it by 10 pounds, and every rep on my top set is 10 pounds more, look at how that keeps adding up, and then you throw in all your assistance work that's been upped a little bit over the period of that time. Look how much more volume and how much more total weight you've lifted the whole training cycle.
And I think assistance work is the most neglected thing,
Yeah, it adds up.
and that's your biggest builder.
Yeah.
I always think that your main lifts are your testers and your accessories
It
are your
keeps you
builders.
together.
What's the funnest meet you did? Win or lose, which you won like all of them, so it doesn't matter.
It probably was actually the where I did total 2400, because everything was so good that day, and there was so many great lifters and so much fun there.
Where was that at?
Dallas, Texas, 1991.
Such a great state.
Too fucking hot.
Yeah, but it's a real free state. What's the
Oh,
worst?
especially back then.
Yeah. What's the worst meet you did? If you want to name drop the meet director, that's fine too.
Yeah, dead, so it's okay.
Oh, even better. Yeah.
It was a meet in Minnesota, and the guy that ran the meet, Jerry Jones at the time, he used to be a phenomenal lifter. The new weights that he wanted didn't come in, so he went to Animal and Hawk, the Road Warriors gym, and he got all the weights from there. And some of the hundreds, which he didn't check, weighed out to be, some of them were like 106 or 108. And I had 4 on each side.
Oh, yeah, that makes
So
a
my
difference.
opening deadlift was a little bit heavier than what I expected, and I bombed out. I mean, I would have rather bombed out in the squat than I would have been able to
Yeah, be done and get
have
out
a
of
meal
there.
and drink in between.
No shit.
Yeah, it's with all the calibrated stuff. I mean, don't.
Yeah, but you learned and you get pissed off and you get a little more determined, and I came back a lot stronger.
Yeah.
And we all know the story about when you shit your pants doing a triple.
Which time?
Well, yeah.
Actually, it was a set of 5.
I'm just proud of you for making it this far and without talking about shitting your pants.
I mean, it's been 10 minutes.
10 minutes is a long time.
That is.
But you finished the set. If the story.
Yeah, I did 900 for 5, and it started on the first rep like the old Play-Doh machine. I just felt it coming out. But I mean, if I stopped then, I would have had to finish the set, come back and do it. So
And with a loose sphincter, nobody wants that.
Why do that? So every rep, it was like kept coming out.
Were your spotters aware?
No. But
Really?
I went and cleaned up the peanut butter poop and went back and finished my workout. With
They had
just
no. It didn't
Sans underwear.
in briefs.
It just shorts.
Oh no, you were done because you were done
Just
squatting.
shorts.
Because you have briefs on when you were squatting.
Just shorts. No, this was just
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's messy.
What'd you eat before that?
I don't even know.
It's important.
Yeah, I would remember that for the rest of my life to not eat that at the same
Usually it was
time.
probably some bad type of cereal because I could get away with it when I was young. Some sugary.
How about now? Have you shit your pants recently? That's the real
When was the last
question.
time you shit yourself?
I thought I did yesterday, but there was just a fart stuck.
There was a time in my building
I know exactly what you're talking about.
where we used to go to a Bennigan's after we worked out at Quads on the south side, and it was probably something in the oil, and I was like off my seat on the way home, pleading with God, making all kinds of deals with him. We do have a Catholic priest right here today,
Yeah, we do have God in the room.
and I made so many deals with him that he allowed me to get inside my building in my parking garage, and then right there was an old piece of carpeting, so I just let her rip, thinking I'd known
See, it happens. Sometimes you gotta shit in new places.
I've never
was fast.
I've never shit outside before.
Really?
Well, it was technically inside because it was inside the garage, and I just rolled up the carpeting and threw it in the garage, and no one knew.
Were you hidden behind the vehicle? What if somebody came?
No, I wouldn't have mattered. I was impossible. It was fast though. It was like a duck cut. It was yeah. It was.
Oh man, that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's almost as good as
Shit
Matt's.
outside?
What's that?
Never shit outside?
I've never shit outside.
You should do it right now. I mean, after this.
You never like camping or?
No, I've never. Anytime I've camped, there's been like the campsite bathrooms. But I hate camping.
Yeah, that's nastier than pooping
Yeah,
outside.
Yeah.
right. Just go outside.
Because you had some weirdos in there before you doing all
Yeah,
kinds
there's
of
probably someone
stuff.
hiding in
Yeah, that's like shitting
Yeah,
at a truck stop.
underneath.
Yeah.
That's like shitting at a truck stop.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm just calling the phone numbers. I just want to know what the good time is.
There is no good.
Is this a good time to call? Where do you think the sport's going?
Well, obviously, it's going towards more raw-ish too.
You think multiply's dead? I know people are trying to save it, but
It's not dead for the guys that love to do that. And as long as they're powerlifting and having fun, no one really gives a fuck. It's only if people try to compare the lifts, then it gets thrown off. Because, I mean, the last meet I watched, the judging was horrendous. But they're in their own little world, in their own federation, so why does anyone really care?
no.
I don't care. I don't care what they do.
No, it's just the raw numbers
I
are
like
so crazy.
I like all the lifters. They're great people, so who cares?
Yeah, I think the raw numbers are just so crazy now that I don't know.
Oh my God.
Multiply used to be where the freaks were, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And now
right.
it's just
I mean, you saw Ray Williams squatted 1080, and you just saw the other guy.
That Jesus.
Yeah.
Oliveira.
Holy
Yeah.
crap.
No shit.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy. Like you look at Ray. I think I said you have back picture of Ray. Like where Ray's walking up to the platform and someone takes
His
picture
back
of
is ginormous.
back is giant. He's
Yeah.
got traps and shoulders. Like he's not just that. Like there is so
A lot of
much
muscle
muscle
there,
stacked on that man.
And he's
Fucking
really
monster.
quiet, but he's a good guy and he's funny as heck.
I heard he was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thought I was somebody. I was standing next to Ed at the airport one time, and he talked to me like he knew who I was.
There's no way he did though.
No, he just thought I was somebody because I was standing next to you. So he started talking to me, and I thought, you don't have to pretend.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine. But
He thought you were somebody else.
yeah. Who's your favorite lifter right now? You got anybody you really like to watch? Outside of the three of us, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you guys are lifters?
Like semi-retired.
Made up your own division?
Yeah.
Yeah. Washed up never was Ben's.
You know what? I do that like I do with like strongman and bodybuilding too. I have to like the people to put them on the list.
There's a lot of shitty people out there.
I do like John Heck.
He's a strong guy.
Yeah, but it's not just he's strong. He's a pretty nice dude. You know. And who's the USAPL guy at like 74 kilos or whatever?
Is that Taylor Atwood?
Yeah, really a good guy too, and strong as hell. And there's a bunch of new guys that are just kick ass. I just like cool people that are nice. I don't like dicks. And it's the same, like I said, with strongmen and bodybuilding. I don't know a lot of bodybuilders, but the few that I do know are as cool as hell.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like the kid they stay in the sport near as long. I don't think the longevity is what it was when you did it.
Well, because a lot of you got to see if they last.
Well, that's
Right.
yeah.
A lot of them are so new that even 10 years isn't that long, really.
No, we talked about it before, like Dan Green.
Yeah.
You know, he was in and out. I mean, he like shocked the world. You know what I mean? He did
Yeah.
his thing, but he was in and out. And I don't know. People are so strong. I don't know what it is now.
I think it's like the lifting's become popular in people who might have done other sports, but would have been best suited for powerlifting. Like they're finding that sport earlier and starting to compete earlier. I mean, I think you see it across a lot of sports where people are specializing in stuff that they were made to do earlier.
Yeah, good point.
Right, and there's more college teams too coming out.
Yeah.
Like Midland having a college team, I think that takes off
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, and like just some of the knowledge that's out there now.
The knowledge out there, and I think, kind of going back to that part about equipped lifting, like before powerlifting was equipped lifting. Like that was the thing. Like, oh, you powerlifter was like, oh, you have to have all this stuff and whatnot, but now it's like, oh no, this dude's fucking swole in knee sleeves squatting 900. Oh shit, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's changed so much, even just in the last like 5 or 6 years. Equipped lifting has kind of
Well,
fallen
a lot
apart.
of these kids that got into it have laid down their base strength after 5 years and are coming on their own.
Yeah, and I think it's one that's like we've talked about it before too. Like once the beginner gains stop, who will stay? When it starts to get hard, where you train for a year
Well,
to get
see,
5 pounds.
That's the thing. Because like it's a catch-22 with the federations. There's too many, but at the same time, there's a lot more lifters. For you to do anything really good for a long period of time, it has to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
So
think
there's, one of the federations kind of starts taking the fun out of it, and they forget what they got into it for. Well, the lifters got into it to be bigger and stronger and have a really good time because no one's making $1 million off it.
well, I think actually the IPF splitting from USAPL, I think is probably going to help the USAPL.
It has already.
Be more fun for the
They
kids.
have more money. They have a lot more money, and the IPF has a lot less money.
Well, the
because
IPF
of it.
sucks.
Well,
Like we
they-
talked about, that was like the PGA of powerlifting. You had to have all their equipment, or you couldn't lift.
Yeah. And all these other countries are realizing, well, we're not making all this money, all these lifters, and they're saying, well, I want to go lift where it's fun and have a good time.
Yeah, I think you're right. If it's not fun, no one cares.
No, but you're not going to care either. How well are you going to do something if it's not fun? If you don't enjoy going into the gym and the meet you're looking forward to are a bunch of suck asses who want to hold their thumb over you and not just red light you, but have someone from the audience, like the president, disagree with a call and run up to the jury and have them red light you, which is what happened. What's
Yeah.
happened there?
Well, and I don't know. All these feds have so much money, but they don't give any money back to the lifters.
They have to. Well, some of them don't make as much as you think, but some of them, like there's one of the federations that was taking in a lot of money. They just got busted by, John from GOAT, and
You can talk about it. That's fine. The USPA, they suck balls.
you see how much money they were taking in, but where was everything for the lifters?
But I mean, I kind of thought Steve Dennis was a piece of shit like years ago when I worked with him,
Uh-huh.
and he proved his point with all the sex offenders and predators
Yeah.
that he had working for him. I don't know that he was a predator. Probably.
Well, we heard crickets there.
No comment.
Out of all your travels, like everywhere you've gone, where do you think the best place was besides where you met Heg, obviously?
Besides Omaha.
In Omaha.
I really like Australia. The people out there are great.
What was their big meet down there you did?
Pro Raw or one of those.
Where was the Mountaineer Cup at?
That was used to be in Chester, West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
The Mountaineer Cup. Yeah.
Why
that
Australia?
was a fun meet.
Yeah.
I just like the people. It's a great trip. It's usually you would go there during our winter time, and it's their summer,
Yeah.
so it's even cooler. But all the people there are just bus balls, and you're either a legend or a cunt.
Wow, that's like a
Yeah.
drastic difference there.
But they mean the same
They
thing.
use it differently, yeah.
They mean the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, cunt is just thrown, that word's just
Australia.
thrown around down there.
Yeah. I mean, if you put smelly in front of it, it would be different.
Right.
But they don't do
I
that.
mean, it's situational, but
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, that's great. There's a really great YouTube video of this Australian farmer who's got a bunch of goats, and one of them is he just calls the cunt because he's a real big jerk, and he's just chasing this guy around and yelling at him in Australia to stop being a fucking cunt for like 5 minutes. It's great.
What's that comedian Jim Jeffers? He's Australian. He said cunt like every other word.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Ted Lasso, but he's a wanker and a
It's
fuck.
just different.
Yeah. How's the food there, though?
Great.
They have any good barbecue?
Yeah, they have great food almost everywhere you go.
Obviously, I don't know if there's good
Yeah.
barbecue. I mean,
Right.
You can find great burger joints and stuff like that even in Russia.
you went to Russia a couple years ago, didn't you?
A little more than a couple.
Was that when you went with Boss?
Yeah.
Because you guys were there for like a bunch of festivities. Wasn't that like Red Square and all that stuff?
Yeah. We had a good time.
Because that was with, what's his name?
Kirill.
Kirill, there you go.
Yeah. That was a big, huge,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
That was a good meet.
Yeah. Is he, and he was in the, like, is he in the big slap thing. Is he still a part of that? Like the power
I
slap?
don't even know. He's the first one I saw that started it over in Russia.
Did he? He didn't compete, did he? He just ran.
No.
He had that guy, that kind
Yeah,
of
that
shorter
that really
guy.
Yeah,
big,
sure.
heavy dude
Oh,
that used to
yeah,
slap the
yeah.
crap. But I saw him get knocked out.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
him like that. Yeah. He looks like his fat little brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, I don't understand the power slap thing, but it's really taken off.
Yeah.
And I don't know
They
why.
had it at the Arnold.
Really?
Yeah.
And Dana
At least
White,
last year they did.
I think you'd be good with those giant mitts you have.
I don't want to get hit like that. I'm too old to get hit like
You
that.
just gotta swing first, man.
Yeah, it's true.
yeah, you'd probably fucking break your elbow or something. You're pretty,
Now I would.
yeah, you're frail.
Well, they say you know when you start getting old, where when someone falls, it's not funny anymore.
Yeah, who's that? You don't notice at all. We laugh when old people fall. Wasn't it like Sum 41 had that
Yep.
song?
Yeah, it's not quite as funny when you start falling.
Or do the Instagram thing where I like scroll halfway up because I know it's gonna be something bad.
Right, if it looks like it's gonna be
Oh, if it's
injury,
okay, then I'll come back and watch it. Yeah.
That's because you've hurt your knee. That's why you
That's
just
what
get all
it is,
willy nilly
yeah.
about it. Just can't be a pussy all your life.
That's when you asked me what his worst meat was. I thought it was gonna be the knee injury. I was like, don't talk about it.
That video ends the best though. You just hear him yelling on the way down.
No, I was already down.
Yeah,
Ah!
I've watched it too many-
Yeah, but see, the weird thing is I knew it snapped, but at the same time, there was no pain because when it snapped all the way through, it kind of goes dead. That was more just kind of like a shock type thing because you're screwed up. But it didn't hurt at all. The thing that hurt is when they took me to the hospital, a nurse picked my leg up and she didn't hold it up. She just let go of it. So
Yep.
I tore my patellar tendon in half. So there's no control over your upper and lower leg then. So my quad started cramping and then cramped more till I thought it was going to explode until they could get a shot of Demerol in my leg.
It's probably just pulling your kneecap.
It was
Wasn't
horrible.
When I did mine, my kneecap was up in my quad.
It was
damaged.
it was not fun.
Yeah, that's probably gotta be.
Yeah, what are you gonna say something?
When
I
he
did.
gets
I
enough
just.
weight.
Yeah. See.
Probably he'll do it shit in his pants.
No, he'll do it getting off the toilet. That'll be the heaviest squat he did that week.
Yeah, that's probably true. Actually.
Slip on some pee on the floor.
Sometimes it's kind of strenuous to get back there for the first wipe. Do you ever have that problem where you're actually trying to stretch for the first wipe?
Oh, your shoulders, yeah.
I
Yeah.
got long arms and big hands. Easy.
Yeah. We talked about this last time. Are you a folder or are you like a crumpler?
Crumpler.
Do you think
I don't
folders
trust
are
those.
Soviet?
No, folders you got to worry about the finger slipping through the toilet
You
paper.
gotta worry that with the crumplers. Like if you crumple it, like
No, that shit's like a
grab
loofah.
a loofah.
What do
If
you
you
guys
have a
doing
loofah
with your
though,
fingers?
A loofah is spongy
porous,
and it'll
yeah.
go right through it. That
but like still a loofah shape. Like
Are you defending that you're a folder?
yeah, I'm a folder.
Of course you are.
Fuck yeah.
I don't think I've thought about it. I think I'm generally a folder, but
Yeah.
like I will crumple too in a time of
Like
need,
for
you know?
sure, I'm gonna fold first to get like the big.
What
chunks off.
what distinguishes a time of
so
need?
you're taking your time to fold it to be perfect.
Yes.
You know what all that's
Yeah.
happening is
You're a weirdo.
poop is drying to your asshole at that point.
Not mine.
No.
Poop doesn't dry that fast.
If you're
Everybody
folded,
knows that.
you're
Mine's
so-
at least like 78% canola oil.
that's disgusting.
At least it comes out easy.
Yeah, it's kind of like
toothpaste.
the super long fingernails. There's no way there's not poop under those.
Yeah.
I don't believe anybody that says
I
that.
would know. I don't suck on super long fingernails.
No, but you know the people we're talking about. You see a girl with super long fingernails.
Yeah, forget
There's
it.
no way that you're wiping and that's really happening.
No way.
I bet they got a white stick.
Or a bidet.
Yeah.
Is that like the same thing like super fat people have?
The days are so. This what threw me off. So we have friends here that have. I don't know what kind of bidet it is. It's like a lid that goes on and it's got the water blast, cleans
Yeah.
that whole stuff.
From the lid, yeah.
So when we were just recently in Italy, they had bidets there, but it doesn't spray up. There's just like 3 holes that spray straight out. So I don't know what you're
What
supposed
direction?
Like just
Back
so
Why
like
is it
this
going to
is-
go to your butt?
yeah. So it's you would imagine that it should go up.
Yeah,
so
a
the
little
pressure
bit.
off, but it just like came straight out. So I don't know
Like
how.
towards the back of the toilet?
From the back of the toilet towards the front, but it's more like level with the ground. Not there's no like angle up. I'm using 3 fingers here because there's always like 3 holes at that.
Does your butt reach low enough to
But
get
not mine.
squirted?
I don't know.
I don't understand because I always feel like it's going to splatter. Because where's that poop go when that water hits it? Because I feel like you're going to need some pressure to get it out of there too.
So lesson learned: you have to clean the chunks first.
Oh, see, that's like what's the point? I might as well just finish with
Yeah.
what I got.
No, it's like a warm bidet is really nice.
Yeah, but then you got to dry your butt again, so you're wiping again.
They have dryers.
That's also weird.
It's super weird. Until
Do you have to stand up to the dryer?
No, you just
You sit there?
yeah.
Do you ever stand and wipe?
No.
I have in time of need.
I've done that before. Well, when we were talking about getting stuck after.
If you've never pooped outside, why would it be a time of need?
Yeah,
Because I felt like sometimes you feel like you need a better angle standing up.
No, I have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when I was a kid, I
Like it's like peanut butter and shag carpet. So you stand
Yeah.
up to get a better angle.
it's when like you don't realize that there's some hangers on her, and you just think you got a clean wipe, and you go to wipe through, and you just fucking.
Well, I'm not
sit there.
hairy, so I don't have to worry.
Oh.
Oh, because I'm just trying to prevent the hour later pins and needles. I have to go back in the bathroom and do reconnaissance work.
You just fold the sheet and stick it up in there for a while to let it rub everything out while you walk around.
That seems also aggressively weird. Yeah, that's.
All right, what else?
I think we keep going. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that ever really gets old, and everybody poops. There's a book about it.
I'd be curious to get your opinion on some of the rule changes around like bench and the elbow positioning, and the talking like I've heard some talk about differentiating now between sumo and conventional pulling.
It's all stupid.
Do you think there should be a press command on bench?
No.
Yeah, well, you,
In general,
you
like
gotta
if
pause.
but you don't pause the squat.
Jinx.
Oh yeah.
That's
Sure.
different.
Why?
Is it?
It's way different.
How?
Why are you not? Should you have a bencher where you can't stop?
I'm just asking if.
According to the way the rules have been since the very
No,
beginning.
I'm a shitty
Let's just
squatter.
put. Let's say it this way. Let's say that you were starting the rules of powerlifting. Would you put a pause on the bench if it wasn't a thing before? Because what does it really prove versus a
I
squat?
think what happens is it comes into play a huge bounce and a heave.
But without the press command, I bet we could get people to
can still
judge,
do like a touch and go.
like red light. And
That would be
Yeah, it would make it harder.
That's way worse.
But
yeah.
you could.
But what about the dive bomb squat out of the hole?
What
do you
about
know-
it?
Do you consider
So
that kind of the
that's
same
why-
thing?
Yeah, because he's going really fast and he has to go below parallel and come up.
Yeah, that's not. It's comparatively to like dive bombing into your chest with a bar.
No, it's not.
There's nothing
There's
to
two
bounce
different
off.
lifts.
Yeah.
We can bounce off your hamstrings.
No, you
But
can't.
that's not an actual object that you're hitting into.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
you
just
can-
asking. I'm
Yeah,
just throwing it out there.
That was a good question. I think
That was stupid.
I'm gonna stick by it. I don't think we need a press command.
I would, so you can do inter-observer agreement and just have everybody watch and say,
Try
just
not to
do
use
it.
big words like
Okay.
inter-observer.
Yeah, but then there's so much more of an objective opinion about it that
Then it turns into
comes-
bodybuilding.
Yeah,
It's
then
easier to have the press command.
Yeah,
but
it's
you
definitely
could do
better.
it, and if you were like 80% accurate on it, then like you may not need it.
Well, what about the 20%?
Well, there's a lot of.
Then it's
And my main reason even for that question is because it's so subjective. You go to different meets and it's
Right.
a forever press command, and you get people who give like a nice, like legitimate press command.
but the rule just says the bar has to remain motionless.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I don't understand why they think they're going to change sumo because they.
Yeah.
No, that's all made
That's
up
annoying.
bullshit by people that couldn't go sumo. That started
Right.
as a joke.
Sumo's cheating.
It started as a fucking joke, and then it just blossomed into other stupid idiots talking.
What rule do you think should change?
Nothing really.
I mean, you can basically go to any fed and get whatever rule you want for the most part. I just wish there weren't so many federations.
No, really, because all the rules are pretty much exactly the same, but how they judge them are different.
Yes.
Like some rules I don't think really matter.
commands?
Like
What?
I don't mind a start command actually. Like the stuff like your head up or head down or your feet up or
I
feet
don't
down.
think a start command is that necessary.
I liked when UPA doesn't have start command squat. I was like that, especially on monolift. So I'm not walking out at all.
Yeah.
The only time a start command is good sometimes because the head judge will make sure the guy's stable
Right.
to go.
Yep.
Now, especially you're going to get that with a monolift because
Yeah.
guys are using more than they could normally
Yes.
walk out. And I think it cuts down on time because then someone's not going to take an extra 20 seconds up there to set up.
Yeah. Because I think we use a start command for the meet here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm the head judge.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind the start command. I don't know. I just think there's some like feet up or feet down on a bench. I don't think that.
Like heels up.
Yeah, heels up,
That's
heels down.
That doesn't make that much of a difference.
Yeah, I don't understand why people care about that or somebody's head up or head down.
How about elbow wraps? Huh?
No.
No.
Why not?
Now you're just being
Right.
silly.
I always thought multiply. Like,
Huh.
why not? Just
Why
put it
not?
all on.
Well, that's like when
We're
they're
talking about rules here.
yeah, that's like when
After
they
it.
can't touch your short. What's the difference? You know what I mean? Like
Or the thumb loop.
yeah, the thumb loop is also a stupid one. That thumb loop is really non-assistive.
So stupid.
You
I agree
don't.
with that.
But I just
Do you
think
agree with that? It shouldn't be.
The
on
thumb
the-
loop is stupid.
It's a stupid rule. Yeah.
Oh, the wraps touching,
yeah. Oh yeah, I think a
or
lot of those.
your knee wrap when you wrap, all of a sudden you go down and it's touching a different part of your
Right.
leg, and they're gonna red light you over that or something.
Yeah, and I don't care even length of knee wraps.
You don't want to have to mummy up.
Yeah, but you know the thing is like IPF they have what like a 2 meter
Yeah,
for everyone.
yeah.
Well, if you weigh 100 pounds versus 400 pounds, that's not really.
Yeah, well, you got an advantage because you're 400 pounds.
Crushed your argument.
just because you're 400 doesn't mean you're a good lifter.
No, it doesn't. But the advantage is there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Lose weight, buddy.
Yeah,
Also-
but when you bench, you got less to go down, less distance.
That's also true.
Don't give up so easily, right?
Well, I mean, he's not wrong on that one.
No.
But yeah, there's a lot of weird rules that, like even the shirts, like the A7 shirts. I don't know why anyone cares. If the bench is shitty, at least you can stick to the bench.
Nobody really does care.
Well, for the longest time, you can't wear them in the IPF.
Well, that's because they weren't getting any money from them, probably.
Well, they were. And that's what I understand. They were sponsoring them, but you couldn't wear their shirts. You could wear their slippers.
Yeah, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah. But that's why I think it's like the PGA of powerlifting.
It usually comes all down to money.
Yeah. And that's what the shittiest part of it all
Yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, a couple of federations, they ran away from trying to be like the IPF and then turned into more of the IPF with control and all the crazy rules and shit like that.
Well, yeah, just the amount of money they want to sponsor stuff.
Yeah,
To have your equipment.
yeah, that was a bunch of crap.
Yeah, I mean, that's all got, like, for your combo racks to be approved, it was like $150,000.
Yeah, I told you, it came down to that, and they
And it only mattered in 2 meets.
and the people revolt. Eventually, it comes back. Wow, Dr. Drew's really hitting it today.
Chris.
Yeah, maybe he'll talk more then.
He doesn't know much.
No, he doesn't. He quit lifting already.
Mm-hmm.
All right, how do you get fired up, Drew?
I would say it's more similar to what you said. I don't like the smelling salts. I don't do music. I want to stay focused. So none of
Exactly.
It was like anything that took me out of being focused, and I did have a couple cues I want to go through in my head, but over time those went less and less because.
And then let everyone know Dr. Drew is a psychologist.
Loosely.
Loosely, yeah. So yeah, it was real similar, like internal, just in my head.
Yeah.
Seeing myself do it.
So if you got too fired up and screamed, did you feel yourself lose focus?
Yes, but
Yes.
it seems like the 3 lifts are different too. For me, for squat, I wanted almost calm. Like bench didn't matter, and then deadlift, I could let it go.
A little bit. Yeah, the
deadlift,
same.
Yeah, it was a little.
I was the
different.
same.
Yep. But yeah, I didn't want.
Thank you for calling Omaha Barbell.
I think the biggest thing is just to have fun the whole time. Like
Right.
I would always try to have fun and joke around, and that was always my big thing.
Yeah.
Because then you don't get in your head about it.
I always did that because I was a terrible lifter.
I mean, I remember walking up and people being like, "All right, get after it." And I was like, "Well, we'll see what happens." I mean, like, what the fuck up? What am I else gonna do?
Yeah, I always thought I was in a good spot if we were cracking jokes before. I go,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you can't be talked to, I think you're.
I was slightly cocky and just an idiot. That was the best time.
Yeah, what was weird is in training sometimes I didn't want to be joking as much. Like it was, I don't know, because it was harder to get yourself there at the meet. Like we're joking.
I feel like it's there, and you just want to you just want to
There's
be
a
done
little
with
more
it.
stress at the meet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of more outside influences that you're
Right.
not accustomed to.
For one time, the first time we went out and did Relentless, I was getting ready for my first squat, and Grolfs comes up behind me and starts rubbing my earlobes. It was really weird, but it was like I'm sitting there getting ready to go, and I was like, "That was exactly what I needed." I don't know what that
There's
was.
some pressure points in your
Yeah.
little that can
But with Justin, that might have
You
been
can-
just like a homosexual moment between you two.
trigger aggression and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was like I whatever that did, and I would have never said, that would be a thing you should do, but he did it like right at the
Rub my
register.
earlobes.
Touch me, bitch.
Well, did you ever see the Russians? So they crank on someone's ears before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll get you pissed
That
off.
seems that good.
Well, see, like those people who slap people or hit them really hard. Like,
Yeah,
No, I'm
I
not into
don't
that.
like that either. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not about that pain before you go up. But yeah, with Justin, that was probably just a moment he wanted to be with you.
Yeah.
Probably.
And we probably all slept in the same bed later that night anyway.
I don't doubt it. You guys are a little bit.
I mean, how many CPAPs can you fit onto
I
one
slept.
nightstand?
I slept between 2.
That's because you didn't have yours.
You had Darth Vader on each side.
Yeah.
Can I
Fucking-
listened to your podcast a couple weeks ago? It was Justin's CPAP that sounded terrible, not mine.
No, that was
Justin's
in
terrible.
Dubuque when I slept between you two. Or when was that? Because you were Matt was so
I
drunk,
was
his
so
CPAP
fucking
wouldn't catch up.
hammered, Yeah. It took like 2
Snored
hours.
through the CPAP.
The invention of one more round.
Yeah. Poor Stacy. I thought she was dead the next
She was
day.
competing the next morning, yeah, and we.
Yeah, just
that,
drunk.
That was my first qualifying for the Arnold, so we go and have some drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
So that was the one you did bench only.
Well, that was a separate time.
When we did
Yeah,
bench
that-
only,
that
that's
was-
when
that was the time I think
Matt and I
that
stole the
was
bell
so
cart and
fucking
wheeled a cooler in there.
Yeah. Because we were hanging up a hot tub just getting smoked, and Stacy's going drink for drink, and the next day she's like, "I hate you so much."
Oh, she woke
Oh,
up.
'cause she
She
didn't
was throwing up the next
compete.
day.
Okay, yeah.
In the hotel in Dubuque upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she threw up all night long. It was just fucking terrible.
Yeah, Matt and I stole the bell cart, just wheeled our cooler into the lifting area.
I'm really impressed with my ability to sleep through my wife throwing up. Doesn't
Yeah.
bother me at all. I sleep right through that.
Yeah, you really care. You okay, babe? Okay.
She'll get me.
She can take care of herself.
Yeah,
it's
she's
fine.
fine. I mean, women's movement empowerment.
Actually, you know what? One of the most questions I get with people, they're like, "Oh, you know Ed?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And like, what did he do for a living? And I was like, I don't have the slightest clue what Ed did. What did you do for a living, Ed?
Why? What's it to you?
I'm just asking people. People ask me did he have a job? And I was like, I think he just lifted weights.
Okay. You don't have to divulge everything, you guys.
Hey, I'm just putting out the people's questions because I get asked when people ask that. It's always, well, what did he do growing up?
We have. I don't think I'd have an answer to that.
I'm not in jail, am I?
Nope.
Not anymore, no. Nope.
Did you do any other sports?
Other than jail?
When I was a kid,
Yeah.
all the regular basketball, baseball, football.
You could have.
He was
when I
center in
really young,
basketball.
yeah. Then I wrestled just a little bit in high school,
imagine wrestling.
but then I started lifting and I started getting.
That was
I came up from 4'11", 98 pounds. Then I was like 126. I was like, I'm fucking huge.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to 98 again. I don't want to do that stuff. So powerlifting took over, and I liked it too much.
Some of the best hitters that I ever went against in football were built like you, big butt, big legs, you know, and so I thought you might be able to.
Where'd you get when you started? Then where'd you get your original lifting program from?
Powerlifting USA, the magazine.
I didn't realize they had it in Sanskrit back then.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
You like Catholic?
Is Jesus on the cover of that?
Moses.
Moses.
Yeah, him and Jesus competed.
I see the way this is going.
Him and Jesus middle school nationals.
One of these days, you guys are going to be in this meet and you're going to bomb out because I'm right
Right there cheering you on.
there. Yeah.
Just red light walk.
But no, I didn't realize Powerlifting USA was around.
Yeah, I took it. I did basic stuff, but I learned how to pick my numbers and what I was good at and what I wanted to be good at and how to get better. It shouldn't be a huge mathematical equation every time you lift to figure shit out.
Did you ever try? Because I know you and Louie were friends-ish. I mean,
Yeah.
you weren't like talk everyday
Yeah.
friends, but you were
Yeah,
friends.
I mean, I knew Louis before Westside.
Did you ever try conjugate? I know you've always been a big linear
No.
guy.
No, because what I was doing was working, so I never changed it.
What did you? I mean, obviously Louis proved his theory with what he did.
Here's what Louis did. Louis came on the scene and taught people the importance of programming that no one ever did before.
Sure.
That was at the forefront of Westside. And it had nothing to do with the Westside way of doing things. It had to do with good programming. And that's why Westside took off, because the foundation was on programming to make people get better and to make them start thinking for themselves about not the beginning of the cycle, but what was going to happen by the end.
Well, and I think that's, in my opinion, that's what made you and Louis who you were and are in the sport, because you guys will teach anybody anything.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like,
we just were willing to do anything to try to find out anything to get better.
yeah, I mean, just to see the sport grow and get better. But like, you guys will give your knowledge away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's just got to be nice. Being nice is easy. You never have to look over your shoulder.
If you're really good at something, you'll tell everybody. Because
You would think.
nobody's catching you.
You would
Like
think.
you can tell them all, they're still not. So
I mean, we stopped. I remember Justin Gross and I stopped at Westside one year at the Arnold, and Louis came in and shook hands or whatever, and he was leaving, and Justin's like, "Hey, Louis, thanks for everything." And Louis, somebody had to do it. That's just all he said. He got in his car and drove away.
I remember one year you would come in here and Alexis was in here and she was asking me stuff about deadlift, and I was like, "Why are you? Ed's right over there. Why are you asking me?" And she's like, "I don't want to bother him." But this is what he'd rather be doing right now.
Yeah.
And you went over and helped her deadlift for like a half hour, and it looked 10 times better when you walked away. And like, that's just who you are. And
Well, that's, I think anybody listens to this, of the dozens of listeners, that
It doesn't.
people like the humbleness of you and how Louis was. I remember at the Learn to Train seminar, one of the first few times that I met you, one of the girls was talking about, she was telling me she was doing your program. And I was like, she's like, "Well, I got this question." I said, "Just go ask Ed." She's like, I don't think so." I go, "Just walk over there and ask him. What's he going to do?
Yeah.
He'll gladly help you." But I think people are so nervous. But there are, because the problem is there's a lot of people now in the sport, all the sports, that are just like super assholes about it. They don't want to do anything, or they want to charge you for everything.
Oh my God.
No, and paying somebody for a seminar, that's a completely different thing. You're getting there the whole time. But to ask somebody a simple question,
Look, I'm in between a guy that's a doctor of psychology and between another guy who's closer to God than any of us will ever.
I am
be.
ordained. I talked to him about it.
Oh, I'm ordained too. Universal Church of Life.
Yes.
Brotherhood
You
of the
know,
Cloth.
outside of the gym, I'm just a regular guy. I can't do a lot of things that a lot of people can do that what they're good at. So we're all good at something. Inside the gym, I'm pretty good at what I do.
And I think that's what people need to remember. But also, don't be rude about it either.
No, being nice and helping people should be easy.
Yeah. And I think that's what has always carried your legacy. I think everybody knows how humble you are. And
I'm still a little guy that I used to be in high school.
and I think that's part of it. You were so great, but you never like kind of forgot where you came from, really, whatever you want to say it.
Well, you do it for a certain purpose. I did it for myself to better myself because that's what I loved and what I wanted to do. I didn't do it for accolades from everyone else.
Yeah, I think that's such a great trait. You know, that's what I've always loved about Drew Dover. He's the same way. He's never forgot where he came from. He's a super nice kid.
Yeah, I never set out to get world records and stuff. I just tried to get better and better and better
Yeah.
all the time. When I couldn't get better anymore, it was time to stop.
And I think that's what you talking about your numbers. People are always chasing some kind of numbers. Just get yourself better.
They forget that.
Never go into a meet worrying about what somebody else is doing. Worry about what you're doing.
Take the small steps and get better a whole bunch of times.
And not every meet is going to be a great meet. And I think people need to remember that too. If you've never bombed out of a meet, you've never pushed yourself.
Well, you gotta learn how to push yourself and what to do wrong.
Now here's one for you. What do you think? I think some people are always like, well, why didn't you go 9 for 9? Sometimes I look at it, if you went 9 for 9, did you really push yourself as far as you could have? Were you too conservative? What's your kind of view on that though?
I tried to get whatever I could on the day. So I would expect to try to go 9 for 9. But in reality, especially, if you push it to a certain degree and you're not in your gym anymore with all your buddies, you're in a different place, sometimes things aren't as optimal to make that lift as perfect as you want to be.
Yeah.
Like I said, with the time, with the judges, with the different equipment, with whatever it is, that's the shit that happens.
And I think that's a hard thing even I've had with clients who try to explain that. Like, I'm sorry. You're not going to have a great meet every single time. I mean, I'm going to feel bad if you have a bad meet.
You want to prepare for it, and you want to think that you will, but some things are out of your control that are going to make it more difficult. You just have to try to be ready for them, and you can't always be ready for everything. So sometimes you're just going to miss. No big deal. Okay, what did I do wrong? Well, if it was something that you do wrong, then you can correct it. If it's something that you didn't do wrong, you should expect something to go wrong later on again and be prepared for it.
Yeah, that's what I say. Not every day is going to be awesome. You just got to be able to build from it and go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any life lessons you guys want to know about?
I guess I'm kind of curious. When you go back and look at your training, was there anything that you would have changed? Or
I probably could have peaked a little better, but I enjoyed being in the gym training and getting bigger and stronger more than I did competing. So if I would have changed that and not hit as big numbers at the end of some training cycles, would it have changed the way I was as a lifter for later on? How each meet builds upon the next. And with confidence and mentality-wise, getting stronger. The meet wasn't as important to me as the gym. I didn't get into powerlifting to set records. I got into powerlifting to enjoy myself and to get stronger. And the meet wasn't the outcome, the goal that I wanted. The goal that I wanted was everything in the gym.
If you weren't as good as you were, do you think you would have stayed with it as long? Just the sheer enjoyment you had of training, do you think you would have still stayed with it as much?
No idea. I mean, that's why people get discouraged.
I mean, I've been moderate for a long time, and I'm still here.
We know.
But are you?
Yeah. But yeah, that's always, we all know people who, if they're not training for something, it's...
Yeah, but you have to know your abilities.
Well, I think that's part. Be realistic.
You accept the fact that you're not going to deadlift 900 pounds or you're going to squat 900 pounds. But there's always little things that you enjoy about training in the gym that you'll always do. Or else you'd be a fatter piece of shit than you are now.
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be hard.
Yeah.
To be fatter.
Yeah.
This is mainly muscle, just with fat. So you guys can't see us, so you don't know.
They can hear us.
Well, what I
Yeah.
said earlier at the restaurant is you look like a lifter from the back.
Yeah. Yeah, and a food taster from the front. But I think that's some people. If it's
I'd still take it as a compliment.
yeah, I think even to anybody out there, even if you're not going to be great, still compete at least every once in a while. Matt and I talked about it before. It's still fun.
It's good to have a purpose.
It's good to have a purpose, especially if that's. But go into it being realistic. These kids, I want to go in and I want to compete with so and so and so. You're not going to compete with so and so
No.
because you're not them.
Yeah.
You need to compete with yourself.
People forget about genetics.
Genetics do help.
Yeah, but they forget where they are
Yeah.
in the sport.
Right.
You just
But like if you
freaking
didn't
started.
enjoy training, you wouldn't have
Yeah.
done what you did.
If your only goal is to beat this record, then where's all the enjoyment leading up to that?
Right.
You end up skipping stages of basic development to try to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody wants to go from A to Z.
You're just too focused on
Yeah.
the finish line and missing the
Mhm.
race.
Right.
Yeah,
And
it's
there's a
all,
lot of cool shit in between.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and you've said it before, and I agree. You know, some of the best times are just training with your
In
friends.
the gym, yeah.
It's so much fun.
Busting each other's chops the whole
Yeah.
time.
I mean, it's. I've always enjoyed training more than meets.
Yeah.
Always. But which is funny because when I ran track, I hated practice, but the meets were the best part.
Because you were running.
Yeah, it's that run thing.
Yeah, but I was only sprinting, so it wasn't even that long. But practice was awful.
Yeah, but it's still running. It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're not in a gym, you should be in a gym, just to understand the atmosphere and get in with the crew.
Just to try to better yourself.
What do you think about group training? Like as far as having good training partners and actually training together.
I loved it.
Now, when you guys would train together, would you train on the same rack? I know you were like 6 feet shorter than everybody else, but
Yeah.
yeah. See, I think that's the thing that's missing too. We've talked about it before. I think everybody like, oh, we train together, but we all train on like a different rack. No, I think you need to train together.
I got a funny on that too. There was a guy, John Binkowski, who was like 6'3", 370. And until he was able to squat over 800 pounds, he was not allowed to raise the racks after I squatted.
And your racks, were those the ones that were like jacks?
Yeah.
You had the jack style? Yeah. Because you never competed out of a mono, right?
I have, but I walked it out. Because that's what I was
Yeah.
good at.
Yes, that was terrible.
But in your group that you were training, like if you were doing the main exercises together, would you all go off and do the same accessories, or would you split off and do like what you need to do or whatever?
Normally they would follow the same accessories that
Okay.
I did.
And then how often did you train with Kurt Kowalski?
Never. We're in different states. We just called each other all the time. After one of the nationals in the late 80s, the guy that helped him out, Marty Gallagher, called me, and then I put Kirk on my routine and taught him how to do that. And Kirk did exceptionally well. Kirk could handle some singles at the end where I didn't do singles, so he was crazier.
He was super
I like
crazy.
to feel a little more weight.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't there a picture of you two and your tiger?
Yeah.
That's the other question people have is that did Ed really have a tiger?
Why is that a question?
I know. I've showed him the picture. Yeah.
I had two. I had a white one too.
And you got him as cubs, right?
Yeah.
What made you decide you wanted a tiger?
Because I knew some people that
Because you knew
had
Mike
it.
Tyson?
I knew some people that I wanted to be Mike Tyson. I knew some people that had them, so I used to be able to. I had a license, and I could take them home and care for them and hang out.
What license is that?
Yeah.
A tiger license, dummy.
Federal license for exotics.
It just says Ed can have tigers. That's all it says.
Can you still get that?
You still get that?
I don't think there's
Tiger King probably ruined that for everybody at this point.
Yeah, there's a good chance on that.
But you took him. How long did you have him for? Because you ended up taking him to like a sanctuary, right?
They ended up getting put out to breeding programs. Yeah.
And how long did you have him for then?
I would just bring them home occasionally, which was kind of cool for some years. I remember one time, the little white one that I have in some pictures. I hadn't seen him in a few years, and then I went and saw him, and they kind of remember your smell for life. And I looked at in a warehouse at the end of a long run cage, and it looked like a couch laying down, and then it got up and moved. And this sucker was like 7 foot tall, 850 pounds or something at that point. And he just kept on trying to get out of the cage, banging up against it, jumping on it, and trying to get out till he could get to me. Yeah.
That's cool.
Did they let him out?
Oh yeah.
And he knew exactly who you were.
Oh, right away. He was licking and purring against my hand outside through the cage.
Yeah.
How long do you have to have him before they remember you like that?
I don't know. I had them as babies, and they
Just fed him and took care of him.
Yeah, I used to feed them and take care of them and sleep in the bed.
What'd you feed him?
At the beginning, a lot of liquid diet, and then you switch over and you mix the liquid like in a bigger bottle. You cut the nipple a little bigger, and you put like ground beef and stuff in there with it, and then you go on from there.
Yeah, because that's got to be a lot of food they're eating in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much as you think.
That's crazy.
No, it's not.
No, the amount of food, I'm just saying. I don't think it's crazy. Well, it's kind of crazy.
Probably
That
got
had
more
Tiger.
food than you eat.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'm actually.
That bastard.
I feel like I've been out-eaten by everyone today.
No,
Oh, really?
prove it.
You were done with your sandwich when everyone else was on their third bite.
Yeah.
That's not true.
It's because you don't chew, you just swallow.
Yeah, you just gotta.
Give him half of your sandwich.
I didn't take it though.
I did, but he didn't take it right then because he didn't want to embarrass himself.
No, because you sound too fat on the podcast. People can hear when you're
That's
fat.
fair, yeah. I have a cinnamon roll in there.
I know, I'm okay.
He has a cinnamon roll over his left titty.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys can lick it later. You got to work for the frosting.
Cream cheese frosting?
All right. I mean, obviously you're in town for the meet.
Yes,
It's our 4th year,
I'm the head judge.
as always.
Just throwing out red lights.
All right. Yep, slinging reds.
Where do you want to see the meet go? Obviously, we try to make it better every year.
Well, it's pretty damn good. I mean, you buy new equipment every year. And
We do EliteFTS.com. Thank
Yeah.
you. They always hook us up with the best.
Dave is always the best. Dave Tate and Matt.
Matt Goodwin.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got our new custom combo rack with the Ed Coan Classic.
pretty badass too.
Yeah. I mean, my vision would be cool to make it a festival.
We just make it better, and everyone has fun. And we got all these little rivalries that come in, and we don't have ringers that come in, and these monster lifters that try to take.
And I'm
everyone's glory.
surprised. I don't know why, because we give away a good amount of money.
Yeah, we give away $5,000. That's good,
Yeah.
and got really good care packages. And I mean, who are all our sponsors this year?
We got Rain has hooked us up, Rain and Monster.
Yeah,
We have Elite Fitness obviously sponsored with the
Merrick
equipment.
Health.
Merrick Health.
My guys, Little Smoky.
Yeah, Merrick Health is doing $250 gift cards to the best
Yeah.
lifters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Ape Man.
That's definitely my guys.
Ape Man has helped us out. Beer Transportation has always helped us out every year. Just local trucking company. Who else do we got in
Ammonia
there?
stuff.
What's that?
Do we have an ammonia?
Oh yeah, we got Obsidian Ammonia. They sent
Ooh.
bottles out for everybody. We got Denise's chocolates.
Oh,
Yeah, she has chocolate pretzels for everybody.
those are great.
Yeah,
You had those last year too.
yeah, she's done every year. We've had
Oh
the meet,
yeah.
and we've always Core Physical Therapy, Sports Performance. Mark and Claire.
Yep.
Claire always competes, obviously.
Yep.
Well, I figured they were sponsored too. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Elite Nutrition. They're out here with and then they have their other line, Right Wing Formulations.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they did some samples for the lifters. So yeah, overall we've been good. What do you think if we would turn it into a festival eventually, like try to make it in Arnold?
It might get more complicated, and you might have more scrutiny and rules on you that you might not have the freedom to do what you want to do the way you want to do it.
Yeah,
That would be the only problem.
we're gonna test run a strongman in October
I
Okay.
didn't know that.
and see what happens.
Do you know the events yet?
Not for sure yet. We're a guy that's a member here at the gym, and he does it as a fundraiser for I believe it's military first responder stuff. But maybe try and add a strongman to it down the road.
That's Matt's 9th beer.
Yeah, and we've been here for
Big
58 minutes.
Yeah.
But we'd have cool events like instead of Conan's wheel, it would be Cohen's wheel.
Ooh.
See, nifty stuff like that.
It's good. What else you got?
Maybe we'll do an 18-inch deadlift, and you have to try to pull 900 for as many times as you can, and no one
I
will
know.
get it.
901.
901,
901.
and no one gets it.
It's whoever can do with the least amount of reverse bands.
No, that'll be the event that you give out the most money on for the win, and
Yeah.
no one wins.
You
Yeah,
just time how long whoever tries the
whoever can pull the hardest and not pass out. But
Have a
no,
blood pressure cup on.
Can we do the rebar bending?
and the phone books get ripped in half. They don't even do that stuff
And the sumo
anymore.
wrestling.
Yeah, yeah.
Old school strongman stuff. That was like,
Yeah,
that's
back
what got
in
me
the
into like,
day, me
that's
too.
what got me into strength sports.
The,
Like, old school
the
strongman
rebar
stuff.
bend is what Kaz Blue is
Yeah.
back on.
What was it, the refrigerator run with
Yeah.
with Colombo?
Franco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That, I was.
Didn't he blow his knee out on that deal?
Yeah.
I was probably
And he
12.
took him to court and won a bunch of money.
Oh, did
too.
he? I didn't know.
Yeah, because there was like it went a little bit uphill and there was a dip
Ah.
where they had him run. So
How does that get sued? But like they run through sand with a stone, and nobody has a problem with that.
Mark Filippi flipped a car. They did it on the sand, and they had a platform underneath the sand, so it slipped out and the car came right down on his leg when he blew his in Morocco. He had to wait till he came back home to get it served.
Yeah, I would rather do that.
honestly, like the strongman stuff, like that shit was cool.
Yeah,
Back
back
then,
then.
like it was like the kind of the random stuff. Like you always had Atlas zones because that's just fucking badass. We had like the power steps and like the carry medleys and
Yeah.
stuff, and the refrigerator.
The one where they had all the girls getting on the squat. Like,
Yeah.
That's where they were squatting it. Like I was
Yeah,
12
like that
years
stuff
old
was
watching
cool.
it.
So like you knew
Yeah.
that there was some general stuff to go, but like there wasn't this finite set of, again, not to take anything away from,
No, it's still cool,
from,
yeah.
from
Yeah.
current competitors, but like you had this kind of general array of like stuff that you knew might happen, but it was just like, oh, you're gonna bend rebar around your neck, and then you're gonna go sumo wrestle.
Remember
this fella.
the one year they did arm wrestling? And the dude
Yeah.
bones.
Yeah, just fucking snapped out.
That was Magnus Samuelson snapped his,
Mm-hmm.
the guy from Australia's arm.
Yeah, because I remember the next year he came back and was doing log press, and it would be like that. Their arm
Yeah.
just couldn't go up.
And then like the Hercules hold. And then the whole
I always
really
like that. They
changed
still
up
do
fucking
that.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Felis, I think, has the world record on that. I put my hand up to Mark Felis, and I got a big hand, and his finger was at least an inch bigger than mine, longer than mine.
Yeah. So we're gonna test run it. We'll see what happens. See
Cool.
how smooth it runs.
What else you want to talk about? Oh, I just got back from Mexico getting stem cells.
Oh yeah, you that was like the whole
But
whole
you got
thing.
like more than stem cells. You got a fucking
I got
full body
an array
replacement.
of stuff.
Yeah, you're like a new person.
Yes,
Yeah, did they change your driver's license age?
they did. It comes down automatically.
So they lowered it down to 67.
No, you said something like the treatment stuff that you had. You said that was to treat AIDS. That's
Is
funny.
murder still against the Catholic religion?
It is, but every 6 years you have all new cells anyway, so your brain.
Okay.
New cells, you're all new.
Yeah.
When you went down for your treatment and stuff, that was to treat a specific injury, or
Yeah.
just like more like
Well,
systemic?
more wear and tear.
Just like
Yeah.
general systemic.
From a bunch of arthritis and wear and tear in my shoulders. And I got an IV of 200 million stem cells and something called follistatin gene therapy. And then a couple shots in my belly of implant placenta.
Yeah.
And then I had stem cells injected in my head to see if I could grow a little more hair to where my weak spots are.
How long ago was this?
Just barely over 2 weeks.
How long does it take before like further?
I'm already starting to grow hair.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
How about your shoulders and
Your
stuff?
shoulders
Like
are
that?
Slight changes, but that
That takes
some of
a
those
little-
injuries take
yeah.
a little longer.
Yeah. So is that stuff? Is that more like, I guess, like pinpoint treatment focused versus like systemic repair?
Well,
stuff?
for the 200 million that were IV'd, that's for systemic.
Okay.
That goes all over, especially your brain. Instantly clears out all your brain fog, like crazy.
I might need 4 million
Yeah.
But that's
Well, no, I got 200 million.
or 400 million.
well, the U.S.
You get a
is
lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
bunch.
fun.
They don't go by body weight.
the U.S. is regulated, right, on their amounts of stem cells. Yeah,
Yeah, and
Wait,
and,
what?
and what kind of stem cells they can use.
because the U.S. is regulated. You can't get that many in one single injection.
No,
I'm going to Mexico anyway.
Yeah.
there you go. I get to hook up.
I just don't have the money.
He's got a guy with a jet too. That helps.
Only Vans.
Yeah.
Only
I'll try it. I think there's a market.
Yo, totally.
There is. You could do
Totally.
bear stuff with
Yeah.
Yeah. With someone other than
some other bear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No comment.
There you go. Probably got some ideas.
and the more bears in one video, you're probably gonna make more money.
Yeah.
You guys share it with them.
Yeah, that's like friends that buy lottery tickets. What a bunch of idiots. Once I win money, I'm not trying to hang out with my old loser
Yeah, I'm
friends.
getting, I'm getting new rich friends.
Yeah, you guys are holding me back. All right, I think we covered a lot of things. You know, we covered Ed's life. We learned about his career.
Did you?
Yeah, his lifting career. You know, his life growing up in Southside Chicago, still living in Southside.
Not in Chicago though.
Wow.
A suburb outside of Chicago that's not Chicago.
Sorry. Yes, he doesn't want to be affiliated with Chicago.
I don't blame you.
Nowadays,
You're training at Lance's gym.
yeah. Yep.
But are you still doing stuff at quads? You still go down to quads, don't you?
No. I haven't been in a while, but I still talk to them all the
They
time.
still have your shrine hanging up there, don't
Oh
they?
yeah.
Exactly. Why would you ever take that down? But yeah, I think we learned a lot of life lessons today. The clergy was here to approve it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and Drew doesn't think we're all need to see a psychologist now.
Afterwards, we all get absolved from our sins.
Yeah, there's going to be a big confessional after this. It's a good
I
thing.
know a lot more than I know we're getting
I didn't realize I could go to heaven from this.
Right?
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, especially for an atheist.
Right, virgin festival.
All right, we want to thank everybody for listening. If you like it, share it. If you don't, we still don't care. Share it anyway.
Yep. Thank you.
Give us a download. Give us a like. Go if you don't follow Ed, follow him on Instagram, Eddie Coan.
Yeah, something like that.
If you have any questions about lifting or life, you can always DM him. He might answer.
I answer everybody.
There you go. Thanks guys for listening. We'll see you later.
See ya.